So I'm going to have a look at how you can leave feedback for your pupils' work. And for this example, I'm using a piece of work that's been submitted via Google Classroom, and the piece of work itself has been completed on Google Docs. So it's an extended piece of writing, as I said, completed on Google Docs. So the first step is to find that piece of work. So I can either find it on my stream page by scrolling down and finding the correct task, or the other option is going onto the classwork page where I'll see all the tasks that I've set my class. So this is the task I'm going to assess today. So the diary model, you can see I've got 6 pieces of work that have been returned to me. So I click on that number 6, and these are the 6 pieces of work. So by clicking on this one, I'm going to assess S. Jones's work today. That should open a new window, and you should be able to see that piece of work appear. So as I said earlier, this has been completed on Google Docs, and this page I can see here looks exactly like Google Docs, except for this bar on the right hand side which says here private comment. What this private comment allows you to do is leave a sort of general generic feedback for this piece of work that's individual for this pupil. Usually it's just that general comment you leave after a piece of work referring to what they've done good, or what could they improve the next time, that type of thing. You're going to start by looking at a more specialised feature for leaving feedback. And what I mean by specialised is going to allow me to draw attention to a certain part of this piece. Rather than leave a generic, general comment about the whole piece of work, what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave a comment now just for this opening sentence. So I can highlight that sentence, and first straight away I can see the speech bubble appearing with a plus in the middle of it. If I just highlight another sentence, you can see now that this follows me wherever I am. So whenever I highlight something, this will follow me on the right hand side of the page. So I can draw attention now to a whole sentence. I can draw attention to a single word. I can draw attention to a whole paragraph. I can even draw attention to a piece of punctuation. So it's very flexible in the way that I'm able to use it. So what I can do, I can highlight this first sentence and I can click on the speech bubble to add the comment. My comment now here will be a great opening sentence. So I can use it to draw attention to the good stuff within this piece of work. Another thing I can do here is I can question the pupil. So it's a very effective method if you apply your assessment for learning principles here. Rather than actually correcting the pupil and giving them the correct spelling or giving them the correct word that they want to use and so on, I can actually start to question the pupil to drive that learning forward and help them identify how they can improve the standard of their work. So I can highlight this question here, this sentence here, and I can click on this comment button and I can ask this pupil, can you think of a stronger closing sentence? So by questioning this pupil now then, there's 2 things that he or she can do. They can click on the comments first of all, they can see exactly where I'm referring to. If I go back to the first comment, you can see that that's now highlighted, which shows exactly where I'm referring to. So I'll go back to my question, can you think of a stronger closing sentence? There's 2 things a pupil can do here. They can actually think of a stronger sentence and they can change what they originally put for that new sentence. Once they've done that, they click on this tick button. So this is the mark as resolved button. So that means that they've understood what you want them to do and they've actually done the changes to raise the standard of that piece of work. So if they've done that, they click on that tick just to show that they've understood. Second thing they can do, if they don't understand what you want them to do, they can actually reply to your comment. So they can actually use this reply feature here just to type their comment. Sorry, can I get some more suggestions, please? Or they can ask you for more suggestions, for some more support, and so on. If they don't understand what you want them to do. But by actually doing the changes and clicking on the tick, what happens is this comment disappears. So you shouldn't worry when this happens. All this means is that this is being stored in a different place. And to see that, I'm just going to click on this speech bubble right in the top right hand side of the page. That opens a comment history. So you don't lose that dialogue. All it means is once something's been resolved is then stored in the comment history. Just to make the work a little bit tidier. So what you don't want is 10, 15 comments just being stored along the side of the page. They are still there. They're just stored in this comment history button. So you don't lose that evidence of dialogue between the pupil and the teacher. It's all stored there. Right, another option for you here is obviously to use peer assessment, so a pupil can leave comments on the work of another pupil. So what they need to do, once they've got their Google Doc open, they've got the share button right in the top right hand side of the page. So they click on share and they'll need to type in the hub email address of the pupil that they're going to be working with. That pupil will then get access to their piece of work, and they're able to do this alongside each other. So I could mark my partner's piece of work, he could mark my work, and so on. What we need is an agreement as a whole school now in terms of how we're going to use this feature. What we don't want is we don't want a pupil to leave 20, 25 comments on a piece of work, because that wouldn't be good for anyone's self-esteem. So you'd need some sort of guidance in terms of what type of comments would be applicable, what type of things are we concentrating on. So are we looking at the success criteria, for example? Are we drawing attention to how the other pupil has achieved the success criteria? What could they do to work more towards achieving them? Usually you set a guide for your pupils in terms of no more than 5 or 6 comments. For example, you could ask them just to do a quick run through of the spelling, if that's what you're going to concentrate on this week. Next week we're going to be looking at punctuation, so they only look for comments that would be applicable for punctuation, so on. Week after that the focus might change. You might be looking at the success criteria. It's completely flexible, but you need some sort of guide and guidance for your pupils. Again, that could fit in with your whole school assessment and feedback policy. So that's how pupils can actually leave comments on each other's piece of work. Another thing worth noting here is if I click on this pencil on the top right hand side, it shows that I'm in editing mode. Well, I can actually change that from editing mode to being in to a suggesting mode. So what this means is I can actually suggest improvements for this pupil. Again, I'd be very wary of this. I would probably only use this feature from a pupil to pupil's perspective. I wouldn't use it as a teacher. I'd encourage possibly my pupils, when they when they assess each other's work, they would use this feature sometimes. So if I wanted to suggest a better closing sentence here, I just highlight that sentence and I type my suggestion on top of it. So as you can see now, in green, that is my suggestion. So I'm a pupil, I'm suggesting this to my fellow pupil. That's in green, and I can see the strike through the original text. So as the author, so the pupils that originally wrote this, they get the option to either accept or reject the suggestion. Again, if I click on reject, that disappears, but remember that's stored here in the comment history. So you can see now that this is a suggestion that I was given, and it shows that I've actually rejected the suggestion there. So that's another feature, could be quite a useful feature again for peer assessment, and it would help again drive the standard of that piece of work forward. So I'll change that back to editing mode. So there's plenty of ways there for you to leave feedback on a pupil's piece of work. So as I said, you can use this comment feature for a bit more accurate feedback referring to a certain section of that work, or this private comment feature that will leave your general feedback for the whole piece of work. So, as I said before, make sure you've got a whole school policy for assessment and feedback, just to make sure you get the full benefit of using this type of online features.